Welcome to Section 3 of the Provider Adoption Series from Healthcare Repair. I'm Dr. KJ, and I'll be guiding you through the continuation of this lesson. As you recall, our last session was concerned with applying generalized patterns to an end user's adoption profile. We then worked on more specific examples of how multiple patterns can overlap. Armed with this knowledge, we can begin to identify our sweet spot for provider adoption, as well as where we might run into resistance. Today's lesson will require us to step away from our provider-specific issues and look across this landscape from a higher perspective. We will continue through our previously posted agenda, now addressing the vendor's view of meeting needs of providers and administration to ensure that the business deal remains optimized. This means not only optimized for the healthcare organization, but also for the vendor who's hoping to make more connections, secure referrals, and thus more sales in the drive to penetrate any given marketplace. So let's get ready to cover the vendor's view and take a 500-foot view of the consumer decision journey. To move up the commercial value chain, digital vendors and service providers are constantly repositioning themselves as a strategic partner to their valued customers. Likewise, customers also want to work closely with their vendors to ensure better end-to-end project management, resulting in system quality at the program level. Using transformational roadmaps, payers and providers alike will seek out well-integrated solutions to establish ecosystem harmony. Vendors are sensitive to the chaos associated with mismanaged physician adoption, so they continually develop and leverage new technologies to improve the digital healthcare experience. Many systems incorporate decision support algorithms, incorporating embedded analytics that not only assist with clinical workflow, but supply robust reporting to leadership. Additionally, health systems tend to look outside of legacy technologies to third parties, such as voice recognition, AI, and other click fatigue fighting technologies. It should be noted that there's a surprisingly robust disruptive industry growing in the transformational agnostic integration space. For example, if a healthcare enterprise is in acquisition mode, purchasing up their competitors, they may run into problems because the merger or acquisition uses an incompatible electronic medical record. Well-integrated agnostic capstone applications serve as the integration point between non-compatible EMRs, modalities, feeder systems, etc. This forces leadership closer to a single source of truth, which is considered the holy grail for enterprise-level reporting. The capstone serves as an air traffic controller, if you will. Finally, proactive artificial intelligence can help shift the focus from reactive brick-and-mortar medicine to proactive stratified population health management. Consumer profiles. Okay, this is one of my favorite slides. Note the little tiny slide up in the right-hand corner, the bell curve. So as we discuss this one, just see if you can identify the parallels between these descriptions and that Lesson 2 slide showing early adopters, early majority, late minority, and technophobes. So imagine yourself as the marketing director for a large EMR vendor. You can find a great launching point for your sales team if you just start with simple modeling of the customers you're already engaging. We can just work through this list. Influencers tend to commit early. They have a strong voice and they lend shaping strategy. They bring a total platform commitment, but they also have a risk. Self-absorbed build and not market concerned. What does that mean? So influencers tend to want to steer the ship. They can be very aggressive when the vendor deems it's time to expand the emerging product into additional or parallel markets. Disciples. Clear focus and direction. Follow the lead of the influencer. To the vendor or developer, this is your cash cow. They also bring risk, roadmap risks with legacy systems. What does that mean? So disciples are your cash cow, and they see that healthcare is their core competency. So they have a stacked deck of other IT vendors already in place. You may have to work through this. Hedgers. Hedgers spread their strategy across several vendors or services. They seek best of breed, or best fit, or cheapest for the value. So their customer must develop their own integrations. They're big on sneakernet. They also bring a risk. They tend to have a strong market savvy. They won't necessarily share their input with you as a vendor. So as a vendor, you have to understand that hedgers might actually be an influencer for your competition. We'll revisit hedgers later in a few moments. So I wonder how many of you can relate to this list. You feel that perhaps you personally played any of these roles, maybe more than one depending on your portfolio. So let's take a look at a 10,000-foot view of how a hospital previously may have made their purchasing decisions. The vendor funnel metaphor. So just reading down through this list, broad market selection, meets criteria for review, best fit options, and then buy. Okay, we've all used this process when we made our purchases in the past. Historically, hospitals give consideration to a large number of potential solutions as the market analysis and time allows. The list of possibilities shrinks as less optimum solutions were deselected and culled. Some hospitals might stall in the best fit identification phase. If you were a provider, where would your purchasing voice of reason fit within this funnel? After the purchase, any relationship with the brand focused on the use of specific product and service itself. So now let's revisit the Gartner hype cycle. As we noted in lesson 2, we can overlay this curve in many situations and predict our next steps. If we take a moment to crosswalk these two items, we could say that broad market selection is the peak of inflated expectations. You decide if it meets the criteria for review at the trough. The best fit option is the upward curve in the slope of enlightenment. And buy is the plateau of productivity. Though this can seem like a roller coaster, this is a relatively linear funnel model of the purchase, and it tends to be very close to the relationship when the final deliverable is installed and paid for. But now let's take a look at how modern digital vendors are working early in the sales cycle to create lasting provider adoption and return business. Consumer decision journey. Okay, if needed, you might refer back to lesson 2, but here's where we will revisit the concept of trust in the adoption of digital healthcare. With the evolution of the internet and subsequent rise of social media marketing tactics, the old loyalty loop has become significantly abbreviated, while adding a sense of ownership through relationship continuation. Now consumers add or remove purchase considerations during an extended, nonlinear evaluation phase. After product delivery and product execution, the adoption and continued relationship with the brand becomes open-ended. Marketers supply additional opportunities to engage the brand and can position the physician or clinician informatics department to figuratively own and literally represent the brand. The physician becomes the new voice through social media, industry publications, and user group participation. This means they adopt and they trust because they are part of the process. Experience extends past the buy through enjoy and then requested, sometimes coerced calls to advocate for the brand. Note the bifurcation from the original loop at the bond node. The loop quickly turns into a short cycle of relationship management. It all relies on the bonding point, and a savvy vendor will lean on social media to strengthen this bond with every cycle. This lesson covered a lot of territory, so don't be afraid to bookmark it and refer back as needed. Combining so many of these business concepts is foundational in medical informatics, and when mastered, it can help you in your strategic planning as you progress your career. Let's continue this conversation. Just email me at kjyoung@healthcarerepairllc.com and we can heal the process. Session adjourned.